We will see a lot of stuff happening with AI agents.
The way in which we train models is going to become increasingly sophisticated over 2025.
One of the cool things we're about to move towards is
The biggest challenges that I think developers are facing at the moment is actually trying to crack reasoning. We've kind of looked at math and code as ways of kind of breaking down the kind of chain of thought process, but we're moving increasingly into trying to find different ways of that. Are there language-based semantic tasks that we can do that with? Something that was brought up today was crosswords, and I think that's something that Cohere is really kind of looking into to make sure that we're able to bring the most out of our models, really able to kind of identify very complex patterns of reasoning.
I think we talked about a lot of interesting approaches and techniques and strategies and types of data and ways to get data, but the most important thing is your user, is your customer. And you can go out and create the best model in the world, you can have the most robust data set, but if you're not aligned with what your users' needs are, it's wasted time. So I think in many ways your users are your best data source, and you should keep them tightly ingrained in your process.
Currently, a lot of companies, a lot of startups, a lot of big companies, they are building similar products. There's a lot of noise in the market. There are a lot of different frameworks, a lot of different large language models. And I often get the feedback, if I talk to people, that people say, I'm getting lost, there's so much stuff happening. 1 week feels like 1 year in AI, so it's a little bit crazy for them. I think the most important part is to stay focused, look into a certain niche, dig into the certain niche, keep on learning, and don't get confused because of all of the noise.
So what matters to me the most in terms of data collection, and specifically human data, is actually the annotators themselves, making sure that there are structures in place for fair pay, for ethical considerations, making sure there's good working conditions. But on top of that, also the training itself. So these annotators are wanting to know more and more, not about the task alone that they're creating, but also the models themselves. How is the work they're doing actually coming about in the kind of the end product?
I think a lot about compliance and regulation and safety, and I think that data is kind of the fundamental part of that, because that's where everything starts, and it's encouraging to see that we're even thinking beyond that in the inputs, the process, the outputs, and making sure that we are responsible every bit along the way, and we work with our public policy counterparts.
For me, the most important part is always trust and quality. Data from real individuals, from real cases, and not somehow made up data which is really not representative at all.
I spoke earlier about North, our work automation platform, which is really kind of focused on enterprise search, generative AI, and also the creation of easy-to-use non-code AI agents. But on top of that, there's definitely kind of a really heavy focus, and especially off the back of all these reasoning models that we're seeing in the marketplace, and of course DeepSeek, and really central focus around reasoning.
One of the cool things we're about to move towards is video, and that's becoming sort of it has been for a while, but a bigger and bigger aspect of data collection. And I think when you combine that with all of the things you can now do from an analysis perspective on text and speech and all of that, it can really sort of explode your understanding and insight for any topic.
So I think for me personally, and the stuff I'm working on last year and maybe the year before, we saw a lot of RAG use cases, a lot of very interesting RAG use cases based on large language models, and I believe that in this year and in the coming maybe 2 to 3 years, we will see a lot of stuff happening with AI agents, which I consider as the next phase of RAG, as the next phase of bringing large language models to the next level, and I'm very excited about it.